All right, so the mics are charging, so no green screen intro for this one, but we might be able to use a green screen during this, so remember that. I just wanted to point that out. In today's video, we are watching a Plat Ramattra on Havana, which I guess Havana is just a map we see a lot of. In this game, it's one of those games where the tank is basically saying that after their first, like, 2 team fights, the DPS on their team was saying that they were throwing and telling the other team to report them. So apparently whatever was happening in the first beginning here, they're just not happy with. So already you have a game within the first minute where they just automatically assume that someone's feeding or throwing. To continue on with that, these are the games they say they feel like why they're in ELO hell, that they should be higher than this, and what could they have done differently in this game, and they try their best to hard carry, because they don't think that their DPS are correct. So we'll find out. What is it? I don't know. We'll see. Subscribe to the YouTube if you haven't. Here we go. We're watching. So far, everything's fine. You're going for spam damage. Keep in mind, this is how you want to play Ramattra a little bit right now. Very timing based, very cooldown based. Like, you don't need to be in there right now in Nemesis form. You want to create, like... Okay, I already see what's happening. This is a classic. I already know what's happening here, and it's a classic. Alright, because they said it happened after the first team fight where they said they blamed their teammate and said they were throwing. It's the opposite. Because the Cassidy was out of position massively, and what they saw on their screen is they saw their team here, but in this comp specifically, you're not going to be able to run up there. You have to play a little bit more poke into Nemesis form. So the Cassidy was massively out of position, got rolled by a Bastion, and then said their tank was feeding and throwing. Because their tank wasn't in a spot to be able to help them, but in reality, it was the DPS's position, and that was, like, absolutely out of play. Can you hold here? Yes. Like, I will say that you could have probably held here, but a lot of the way Ramattra works now is a lot of it is just, like, spamming the Doritos as much as you can, get them low, get out cooldowns, and then use Nemesis form. This goes against pretty much anything, Ryan Shield, etc. So, like, you don't have to play here. You could have, but this is also just bad positioning by your cast on top of that. So that's just, I guarantee that's what's happening. I can already see. They were out of position. They assumed it was on you. They see you backing up now, so they once again assume it's on you, and then, yeah, I can see where this is going. Genji dies in their back line. Now both DPS are mad because you weren't in front of their face during that, even though the Genji made a good play. The Genji made a good play to get the Widow, but then decided to go into the team even though you're down in numbers. Now they see you not pushing in, which is why you're starting to push in. They're getting mad at you for pushing in, then you say you're throwing. Which in reality, that was a chain of events. I wouldn't say that was the case. I think you were doing your best to play against the Bastion comp, and it didn't go well. All right, here we go. So yeah, just to go back to this right now, I can see what you're doing, playstyle-wise too, is your teammates are already kind of like mad at you for not running into their team. I want to point something out, and if this is what this just goes for everybody. This kind of goes for everybody who, this goes for, everybody who expects their Ramattra just to go into Nemesis form and run at their team over and over again. That isn't quite the play style. And a lot of the time, especially when you're seeing this comp, it's going to be really difficult for Ramattra to get that value. Now, I do want to say, if you have Sigma as one of the heroes that you can play, Sigma is really, 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 really good on this map because of the sight lines and your ability to stop that. So against the Bastion, right? Against the Bastion, you're going to be in a pretty good spot. Like, as Sigma. As Ramattra, if they play mid-range on you, you're going to run into them and you're going to try to do this and you're going to get rolled. Okay, now you're not going to get rolled because of this ultimate. This is fine. This is a good play. By the way, if you did that play without the nano, you would have gotten rolled, but you didn't, so I do like that play. Good job. Good comp for that one. But Sigma's good against that comp, and that's a recommendation for people who are trying to figure out if they're struggling on Havana. If you're playing against a comp like that, Sigma's really good because you can kind of play back and you play cooldowns. What's a way to explain this? Like, this map, there's a lot of just kind of standing there and doing nothing, and that's okay, right? Like, that's okay. I've had a few people who are like, hey, why are you playing all the way back here? You need to go up there and, like, fight them here. You want to know why? Because look at this is it. This is the... essentially where they can funnel, and anywhere else they go is through a small doorway. You see this? So you can just sit here over and over again and hold for 5. And the other team can make a good play, etc. But like, that's why you see in top 500, a lot of times the fight just ends up here. You might go here a little bit, but then you just back up because like there's just there's no point to hold that. So you just play a hero like Sigma. You just cooldown rotate. Ramattra's good on some maps, and like second point, it would have been good, but you got snowballed. But like, the problem you're gonna run into is the moment that they just focus you and you play this close, you're gonna get rolled. Like that Soldier 76 just ran in a circle, right? We'll see what happens. I want to point out your positioning's a little bit too aggro. Yeah. Yep. Yeah, do you see what you're doing? Do you see what I'm talking about? How like the best way to explain it is, in theory, against what their team's doing right now, you should be fine. Your team should be fine, but your team's not. So this is a team effort. Oh, there you go. Nice play. So I needed to rewind that play very quickly for a second. Because you said your DPS were really mad at you. But just see here. How many does Reaper get with this up top? 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, visor time. So the Reaper gets 4 with the ultimate, and then your soldier pops visor. Do you see how everybody has those moments in game where it isn't as ideal? Now, if you say, hey, why'd you ult? They're going to be like, oh, well, you're throwing, right? So, I'm just pointing out that it can happen to everybody in the game where you have different issues that will happen, and it just, you know, your teammates will make plays that aren't ideal, and you just move on to the next team fight. Alexis, thank you for the, I think it's a heart. The TikTok heart. Thank you. Appreciate it. So I can't see from this. Can you see the Reaper ult? Good job there. Now remember, I don't want you to push too far past this. It's okay if you decide to play a little bit more passive. Like, if your teammates are mad at you for, like, not pushing into the wide open space the whole time here, I'm telling you right now, backing up to where you're going is a much more ideal play than sitting right there. Because you don't have a way to... How do I explain this? Retake this well. So, yeah, this I can already... Based off of what your Reaper's doing right now, it's map knowledge. Like, your Reaper wants you to play where they're playing, but you don't want to play there. You want to play further back. So you're playing this correct. Your Reaper's playing too aggro. This is a good play. It's a good play. You see what I mean about that spot, though? How you just sit there and wait, and then you can make plays? Now, the mistake you made there was you got aggressive with that nano play, but then you ended up staying there for too long. Remember what we've talked about? When you get a first pick, it's okay to back up a little bit. Now, if you watch me play Ramattra, I overfeed all the time. It's actually something that I'm learning. on Ramattra. So that's kind of where I'm coming from with that one. All right, here we go. All right, your team won that. I do want to point out, this is what I've been talking about. This is a good default position on this map. See this right here? This is a good default position when the cart is here. This is a good starting spot for Ramattra. If your whole team does this and plays up here, to a certain point, you're going to have to go, well, I guess we're joining them. If all of your teammates stay there. Now, if all of your teammates back up and one of your teammates stays there, that's on them. I want to point out 2 things. 1, good position by the Ramattra. Good position by the Ana. You might want to change this a little bit as Ana if, like, they have a Widow eventually, but that's not an issue. These 2 heroes are in good position right now. Kiriko is going to go back. Junkrat and Reaper are both the ones out of position. Let's see what happens. Junkrat's in a good spot. Kiriko's fine because they can swift step. Everybody's in a good spot now. Everybody in your team is in a good spot. Straight up. I'm okay with this. For now. Oh, this is tough to say. this is a tough one for me to... I think you have it because you're ults? That's a tough one, though, because I feel like you could have done the same thing. But, like, you still held it, so it's like... I'm not going to go too much into, like, oh, do this, because it works. And sometimes you're just going to have plays in Overwatch that are not the most ideal plays. But they work, and, like, I'm not going to sit there and be like, oh, well, why'd you do that? Like, sometimes it just works. Sometimes you make a play, and you're just good to go. You know? Sometimes that's how it goes. Good job. Good job going, by the way, going to the back line here in that situation is good. But yeah, so I think, like, you did a good job of playing the correct spots. A couple over-aggressions sometimes. But I think you did a really good job at playing the correct spot in this map and sitting there and chilling. Yeah, but by the way, like, to the initial discussion, like, your DPS said you were throwing. You're not throwing at all. You're not really doing anything there that I see that is bad. I think you were doing just fine. All right? Heck, you made the other tank switch to Ramattra. Good shield usage. So one thing I want to point out that I think you didn't recognize this at the time. You wanted to go for their backline and do damage to them with the Doritos. But I also kind of want to point out, by the way, that you also had a good shield that LOS the Ramattra from the heals and the damage. So I think I would have just turned around and went for the Ramattra. Force the Kiriko to TP in or waste a cooldown rather than try to, like, just solo 4 people in front of you. You know what I'm saying? Like, your shield LOS them. Line of sight, for anybody wondering. You did a good job of doing that. And I think at that point, just get the Elim on Ramattra. Because, like, they didn't have Nemesis form. They just used Nemesis form, so, like, they're not going to have that protection. Now, obviously, they have Nemesis form, right? So, like, you kind of played into letting your Ramattra, or their Ramattra just survive that. When in reality, you probably could have turned around and just killed the Ramattra. You were trying to shield off the heals. You thought your DPS could kill the Ramattra. I'm going to give you a little bit of tip about Overwatch, and I do this sometimes also. Try your best to finish the Elim or work together as a team rather than going, I thought my teammate was going to do that. That's how nobody pushes cart. That is how nobody finishes an Elim. That is how nobody follows up on a Sigma ultimate. That's how you heal people in your grab. When you grab somebody as Zarya and the whole team gets healed because everybody thinks that someone else is going to do it, and then nobody does it. You see what I'm saying? At that point, nobody does it. So sometimes it's better just to be like, I'm going to follow up on that Elim, and you'll see me make that call, and I'm like, oh, I thought my teammates, and I'm like, oh, I should have just followed up on that, right? But if someone does do it, then you can still go make a good play. You know what I mean? Like, you can still go make a good play after it. Oh, have a great rest of your night. Oh, heck yeah, Lupa. I work all this game is great. Here we go. This is literally just a classic Ramattra versus Ramattra battle. Be careful here in a second. I know what you're doing. I'm okay with it if you can get out a cooldown and know that the ult's going to be good value. What I mean is that they're kind of all over the place right now, so you might lose that value on the ult. So what were we talking about? What were we talking about? Basically, what I'm getting at here is that you wanted so badly to make that ult play. Like, you were committed to the idea of making that ult play, right? And you got here and nobody was here. And then you're like, I have to ult this. Like, I just have to. I've already ran in here. I have to ult it. That's why I was saying, the moment you see them kind of play, like, all over the place, unless you know they're going to stack up or you have, like, a good vortex to go with it, this is what happens. Look at everybody. They're all over the place. They were already set up like that. You could see that you weren't going to get any value with that if you did that. You see what I'm saying? So sometimes if you go in there with a play that you want to make, and, like, you recognize, like, last second this isn't going to work, right? You can make that play to be like, okay, never mind, I'm going to do this after. Instead, you waste your ultimate, and maybe you'll win the team fight, per usual. I mean, it looks like your team is. But, like, you can now still win that team fight and have the ultimate. Like, you see that Ramattra right there? They're probably not going to be happy with the result of this ult. Why? Because they were committed to the idea of using the ultimate, but nobody's there. They're going to get rolled. See? It's okay to save your ultimate sometimes. It's okay. Yep, shielding off the ult helps block the ultimate, by the way, too. That is also something that can be very helpful to the team. So doing things like that can be super good. That is also very true. Push the card? Oh, somebody else will do it, right? Don't even get me started about the card. Listen, chat, don't get me started about the card. Please don't. Yep. I want to point something out here because there's two versions of Overwatch that you can play here. Is one, you want to deny them from getting map control, right? But also, what happens if you push the cart and the cart's here? What happens to the other team? They are in an even worse spot than if you push here. So at a certain point when you have enough of limbs, it's okay to back up a little bit and get the cart tie because then they have to just like sprint to the cart and not even think about like they start to focus more on the cart than they'll focus on the actual like gameplay, and then you just win the team fight. So you have to kind of balance that. Like there's times where you want to push up and there's times where you don't. That is one of them where you just get 3 on cart while you have the numbers advantage and they're going to run into you. They will literally run into you. Chat knows I run into this issue all the time with cart, though. No matter what role I'm on, I am the cart pusher. I'm not even memeing you. I have, I think, over 1,000 hours of objective time alone. Like, I have 1,000 objective hours. I'm not even kidding you. Actually, I can look right now. I actually would not doubt it if I have... Oh, sorry. I have 1,202 hours of objective time. Because nobody else pushes the cart. And it's more than that, too. Exactly. It's more than that. And no matter what role I play, I'm on that cart. I'm telling you. Chat sees it all the time. Nobody wants to push the cart. Somebody's like, I like to push the cart. Oh, I know, but like when I say nobody, I know people like to push the cart. It's just like most players want to just go and hit buttons and just get off the cart immediately. Yep, playing too aggro. Trying to do too much. It's a very common thing. It's okay, especially in your brawl type comp, to like, you need your team to commit that play with you. If your team isn't committing that play with you, you're gonna fall over a lot of the time. All right, here we go. Going top right's okay. Remember, they have a Junkrat. Play into what the comp they have, understand the comp they have, and then figure out if it's worth it. I'm okay with this for now because they haven't noticed you, but just be wary. Good pick. You can ult if you need to here. I don't think you want to. You're fine. Kiriko's going to TP into somebody's going to get rolled in a second anyway, so you'll be fine. Yeah, I was going to say. That cart has been pushing so much. I'm going to be honest with you. Your team has probably wasted about 2 minutes of time just not pushing that cart. In my opinion, your team's wasted about 2 minutes of time not pushing that cart. Honestly. For everything I've seen, that's what I've seen. Like I think you would be on 3rd point by now. Good ultimate. You know, I have to say, for your DPS being really mad at you and saying you were throwing right at the beginning, they have done a really good job of making sure to use Soldier 76 ultimate when you already won a team fight. I just want to point that out. I gotta say, for them being really mad at you, they have done a great job at making sure they're constantly using that ultimate when your team already won. I gotta point that out. Good job kind of spamming out here. Be careful. You're gonna be in the middle. You're gonna be in the middle. You have no shield. Yep. You're forced to use your Nemesis form a little bit passively here. Mora got away. You should be good now. You have shield. Throw a vortex to the left. Good vortex. Remember, sometimes you don't need people in your vortex. You need the idea that if they back up, they get rolled, but then you played too close. See what you're doing? You're trying to do too much. I want to point that out. You're just trying to do too much. It's just a classic. Cooldown rotation's a big part of your game. You need to watch for that, okay? Remember, they have to disengage out, so you want to put a vortex in a spot where... That's okay, I'll take that. I mean, it's worth getting the Junkrat. What's that thing? Alright. Don't be afraid to Vortex the Moira. Remember, Vortex will slow people down. And I think they had used Fade prior. Good blade. Yep. Oh, yeah. It's always amazing how that's how it goes, where your teammate gets mad at you and tells the other team that you're throwing, and then, like, every ult I've seen... Actually, no, their Reaper ult was really good, I'll be honest with you. Good job blocking, good play. Nice clutch. Now, the question is do you win this or lose this? I want to say there's no way... Wait, you might lose this. Because they can get Sune out. They kind of wiped as a team. Wait a second. It really depends what happens here. Ooh, they might be able to win this against you. Good job recognizing. Yeah, I was gonna say. Yeah. Damn, and you lost it. Oh no. Oh no. Yep, I saw that coming. So, just to quickly kind of talk about this very quick, like, something that you really need to work on for you is, you need to recognize your cooldown rotations. You've done not the best job of rotating your cooldowns and also recognizing the situation. You kind of have, like, at a certain point you had one speed and it was we're going to hold close, but sometimes you need to recognize, like, when to fall back and when to play aggression, right? We kind of want to time out those plays more than just, like, I'm always going to play close. Make sure your team's with you. Make sure you have a play. Make sure you have, like, a backup play. Make sure you have something that you can do. When you don't do that, you just get rolled. And every time you got rolled, that's why. Second of all, you said your teammate said you were throwing in to report you and all that. I have no idea what they were talking about. I didn't see anything there that made me thought that. If anything, their ultimates were a treat. They had some interesting plays. But that goes back to, like, the whole team needs to recognize that they all made these plays that weren't as ideal, and it's not just on one person. Sometimes you just lose a game as a team, and this was a team effort loss. If you liked this video, make sure to hit the like button, subscribe to all 3 YouTubes if you haven't. Everyday uploads on there, a lot of awesome videos across the board, so make sure to watch those if you haven't. If you want to submit your own spectate, look in the description below. You will see my Discord. That's where you can do that. Record these live on stream. You can see the Twitch chat right there below the webcam. Stop by. It's a lot of fun. With that being said, hope you have an amazing day/night.